In jobs and industries where there is a very high turnover, remember, it costs a lot of time to find somebody to do the job, but also to train that person. And even when you train that person, it's not given that that person actually will be doing all the time the job at the same level. One of the things that actually the advantage of the machine, let's put it that the cleaning robots, is that because it's a machine, it's always doing the same intensity when it's cleaning. It's not that it's cleaning a little bit good in the corner and the right and the left eye. I forgot that part. No, it's not for giving any space because actually it had the radar.
You're listening to Talk Commerce. Subscribe and download at talk-commerce.com.
Welcome to this episode of Talk Commerce. Today I have Marianela Nanninga. Marianela, go ahead, do an introduction for yourself. The pronunciation of your name for me. Tell us your day-to-day role and something exciting you have going in business this year.
Yes, hello. Thank you very much, Brent. As I say, my name is Marianela Nanninga from ToDo Robotics, and there are a lot of things coming into my work in the neck of the woods in terms of technologies, AI, and a new way of see the world through the lenses of new vision. Let's put it in this way. We are fresh of participation in NRS, a National Retail Federation event in New York, and it was quite an experience. We had the opportunity to introduce new products and new technology and some new applications. So yes, a lot of things going on.
That's awesome. So Marianela, before we get started, you have volunteered to be part of the Free Joke Project, and all I'm going to do is tell you a joke, and you just give me a rating 8 through 13. Then we're going to talk about robotics and AI and how all those things can benefit in the future. So here we go. A lady asked me if I would help her get a job as a professional Scrabble player. I put in a good word for her.
I give you a 10.
Oh, thank you. That's perfect. All right, good. So tell us a little bit about your background and robotics and how that encompasses AI now.
Yes, for more than 15 years, I had been actually working in the area of technologies, business development for technology, consumer electronics, different on-site deployments, companies selling to big box companies and retailers. My background is in technology. I love technology. I always like technology. And I had the opportunity actually in this role, travel extensively in Asia around, I don't know, 10 years ago, I was in South Korea, Seoul. I saw for the first time a robot. I was in a restaurant. It was bringing me my food. It was a very tiny thing and very not working very well, but it was so funny. And I look at that and I said, here we are. That's what I want to do in the future. I want to sell robots, but real robots. I thought that was entertaining and fun, but it was super slow. So I said, do I still not that into the market? Of course, for the American public, I knew already that was way too far away. And, that remains in my mind. Passing the years, and in 2020, I was in CES, the big show in Las Vegas, and consumer electronics shows. So I was there, and for the first time, I saw a robot that had a different kind of application. Remember that robotics had been in the industry, in the industrial and manufacture level for almost 40 years. So it's nothing really new. What is new is actually the application for commercial purposes and the idea that now you can have devices that can help you literally your life in your small world. Let's put it in this way, doing a specific task. So that was actually, I fell in love with the robots per se, and then I contacted that company, initiate the conversation. But long story short, COVID started. Honestly, everything was put on hold, like the rest of the world. But 2 years later, I had the opportunity of being hired as a business development director for another company that gave me in some way carte blanche and say, hey, would you like to develop a couple of new projects for us? And I said, yes, I had something in mind. So I presented multiple projects. They actually select this one and a couple of them. And among of them, this was this one. And I had my first amount of money to actually put it and buy robots and test the robots, learn how to deploy the robots, put the robots in real operations in restaurants, see really the reaction of the customers, of the owners, where were the shortcomings. And we actually had, it was a great experience, of really hands-on. We actually bought multiple robots, I learned how to deploy multiple robots. And that experience, after 8 months, I came out and say, hey, we're ready to roll into the market. And I present all my documents, go to market, marketing plan, sales plan, projections, name it. We did it, it's presented to the board, and the board say no. Ta-da! My heart was broken. And I actually, myself, I was really, really, when you put the heart in something that you said, that's my call, but I didn't know how to really do it. It took me another 2 months to finally get the decision. I was very bummed. And then at a certain point, somebody told me, it's like, let me understand. How many people in that whole company know how to deploy the robots? He said, only me. How many people had sold the robots? Only me. How many people work in the business plan, projection, etc.? Only me. He said, so you had your answer. You are the company. I was the company. But I need somebody that shake my head. And here we are. 3 years later, I'm here. I decide actually to say, you know what? I give my notice to the company and open my company, my own company. Contact the manufacturer, explain the situation, and say I'm gonna do it by myself. And honestly, at the beginning, I think that they were very doubting. This crazy Latina lady from Atlanta is gonna do what by herself? It is a woman. It's Latin. What do you know about robots? See, a little bit of experience. I had put already like a 3 robots and say, but I can learn. Actually, they were very nice, send engineers. I actually did the training, went with them and start to sell. Long story short, 250 robots later, here I am.
Yeah, that's a incredible story, and really goes to show how entrepreneurs can change the landscape and see beyond what a board would see and what a group of people, even in a company, can see. My experience has been with handwriting. I know that a lot of companies now use robots to handwritten notes, and they just have a pen and a plotter that will handwrite notes. But so tell us your application for robots and tell us how it's really made an impact.
Yes, well, we actually had different lines of robots that we distribute. We had what we call it the server robots, that are the ones that actually bringing things from one place to another. So the most popular that you see right now in the market is our model that is called BellaBot. The manufacturer is called ToDo Robotics, and BellaBot is actually working pretty steady in restaurants. Actually, in most of the restaurant is used to actually, like the runner, bring the food from the back of the house to each one of the table, is actually doing it on time, without hiccups, without making mistakes. So she is very reliable. She's used also some in other places to bring, for instance, drinks. For instance, a lot of Mexican places use the robot to bring the chips. They call it in Spanish the chipera, because it means she's the one in charge of the chips in every table. So this is the interesting about the technology, is that at the end of the day is a robot, is a device that is up to the programmer, the installer, to help to actually the operations inside what the restaurant is doing. So it is a support, it's not taking over, and this is very important to understand. It's not really taking over the waiter. You still need the waiter to place the orders. You need still the waiters to actually order all the things. What it helps is actually it helps the waiter, because now instead the waiter to go back and forth, the waiter can stay in its location, and actually it's the robot going back and forth and back and forth. So it is most of the time in the restaurants when we put the robot, at the beginning, every waiter when we show up, it's like, oh my God, here we are, my replacement. But shortly, they are the first one to say, thank you very much. Especially restaurants that actually carry, for instance, plates that are very heavy. I had one of it, lot of Mexican restaurants, and they used to have this place, these things, big dishes, very heavy, called molcajete, super heavy. And now when is the robot bringing the molcajetes, is all the way to, thanks God. My back is saying thank you. Same thing in the cleaning industry. We had cleaning robots, I mean, like vacuum cleaning robots, scrubber robots, but commercial level. So imagine like a mega super Roomba on steroids that actually can do, I don't know, 20,000 square feet per hour, and is able to actually very precise, do the cleaning, very precise, very. So that job actually is not that it's taking the job of the person, the operator that normally is you doing. No, 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 no. That operator is still the operator of the machine. And while the machine is actually cleaning, doing the back and forth, cleaning the area, that person is actually concentrating, cleaning the rest of the things that had to be cleaned, like at the baseboards, handles, windows, etc. So in areas where there is actually heavy, repetitive jobs, this robot really give an incredible hand, and it's actually become like the assistant, personal assistant of the operators.
Yeah, I mean that's such a great analogy, and I heard a similar analogy on power tools, and we used to have a drill would you'd have to hand crank a drill to make a hole, and then suddenly they had a drill that has a motor in it, and it's the same principle where it's enabling people to do their jobs better, and it's enabling craftspeople to make their craft better, and it's enabling, like you said, workers to do maybe less redundant tasks and to do tasks that are more important or better where it requires the human to do it. And I guess one other comment is that it allows business owners to also hire a more skilled workforce and have a more consistent workforce, right? Because they know some of these harder tasks that maybe some people aren't going to do are going to get done.
Absolutely. In jobs and industries where there is a very high turnover, remember, it costs a lot of time to find somebody to do the job, but also to train that person. And even when you train that person, it's not given that that person actually will be doing all the time the job at the same level. One of the things that actually the advantage of the machine, let's put it that the cleaning robots, is that because it's a machine, it's always doing the same intensity when it's cleaning. It's not that it's cleaning a little bit good in the corner and the right and the left eye. I forgot that part. No, it's not for giving any space because actually it had the radar. It have a light that is telling exactly what it is, what I'm missing, what I'm not missing. I covered this area or not, but also the intensity and the quality of the cleaning because always the pressure is the same. The amount of water is the same. Always the revolutions in the rolls are the same. So you actually, and all these parameters are settings that you can fine tune, but allows you to have the security that the spaces are clean and clean in the same way. So the consistency and the quality of the cleaning is always good. What means, and that the translation, or actually is a customer experience for the end customer, is a better customer experience.
Yeah, so tell us some of the other ideas that you have in introducing robots into the US market. And I know that you had mentioned earlier that maybe Korea, South Korea, Japan, Taiwan would be ahead of the US in some of these areas. Tell us some of the other ideas that you have.
Absolutely. We're right now actually testing about a couple of new robots. One of them is I call it the cooking robot, but actually more than cooking robot, it's more like a cooking system. So imagine like an automatic wok that you actually train the recipes. The chef can train the robot at the recipe in terms of time of cooking, length of the ingredients, the flavors, the liquids like salt, pepper. So the robot still needs somebody to put the main ingredients. Let's put it that you are doing chicken, the robot with vegetables. The robot will ask, please put the vegetables. But actually, internally, the robot will dispense and see exactly what temperature, what amount of oil, what amount of salt, what amount of any kind of condiments and sauces will be put it into the recipe, the cooking time, the number of times that you had to actually stir the food. So what it gives actually is consistency in the flavor of the food. That chicken, because initially that recipe will be trained by the original chef. The robot is like a memorize the step by step with ingredients, with the time of cooking, with the revolutions, etc. So every time the food will be in the same flavor. So is actually very good for institutional kitchens. We're talking about schools. We're talking about big cafeterias, areas that actually have a very big number of repetitive food that is always more or less the same consistency. And we
Yeah,
also
so
have,
I think
we also had robots actually going into the senior living facilities where the robots actually will go and make make company and do the rounds in the senior living facilities to ensure the well-being of the each one of the guests, but also to actually connect with them and do like a telemedicine visits with your doctors as well.
I remember during the pandemic, that was one of the things that they really talked a lot. It's the telemedicine and having an iPad on the end of a robot that kind of goes
Exactly.
around from room to room.
Exactly.
Do you see then more of a shift that the commercial aspect is where it's really developed and it comes down to the consumer, or do you see it going the other way, like iRobot or the little robot vacuums are, initially were such a big thing and then now they've really come into the commercial spot? Is it a mixture of how technologies will move between commercial and consumer?
Actually, I see both tendency. To be honest, I mean, you put up a fantastic example of the iRobot and the Roomba. One of the easy things for me to actually easy and relative, but that is easy to understand the concept of a cleaning robot is thanks to Roomba. Because as I said, even when I explain, the only thing that I have to say is like a maxi Roomba in asteroid. It's big like that, but it's identical to the Roomba. The people immediately know what I'm talking about. And also the perception. I don't know why, but that idea of a device that clean, that is autonomous. It actually is very intelligent, is doing the mapping, have a lidar, have sensors, that all the things. He give the idea that's like well, it's not really it's not so intimidating. I think that that is one side that I saw where actually I see that way coming with other devices. At the other side, we actually are developing. There is a risk into the market to go into the extreme where right now that in the last 8 months, there are, and I in the industry, more than 25 different humanoids launched into the market for different brands, from the Optimus, from Tesla, from ToDo, from name it, Unitree. Everybody's coming out with the new models of humanoids, and everybody, oh my God, they are taking over. No, they are not taking over. Number one, all these humanoids, what this is the people don't realize, are right now are sold right now pretty much empty. They are actually without software. R&D operations that actually are developing right now. Because honestly, in the future, there are some tasks that definitely the humanoids could be done risky tasks that actually that are repetitive, have involved some kind of danger for the people that is doing it, that those robots will be able to do it. But actually to arrive to that point that is actually the robot can do it is take a lot of R&D in software. So it will take a little bit long for us to see immediately. But now because the people see an Optimus, Elon Musk coming into the market, oh, it's coming back out in 2 months for $30,000. I cannot tell you how many people had called me, oh my God, you're going to be selling the Optimus. No, and nobody's going to be selling the Optimus in 3 months. By the way, we're still waiting for the robot taxi that he announced in 2017. And now they're saying maybe June, they're going to come out with a demo, with a proof of concept and a test in Austin, Texas. So, you know, technology, it takes time to really arrive to the point that actually it will have the benefits in the way that we perceive as a regular people. Now, there are applications and in commercial side that actually definitely could benefit to have the robotics and the robots in different forms, automate or humanoids that actually will help the day-to-day operations.
We have a few minutes left, but what is your predictions this year for robots that will be into production or that have already gone through that long phase of R&D that are ready to go live?
Couple of them that actually are believe that I'm getting into mature applications. And then when I say mature, the applications had been mature. So there are a couple of robots, including the Unit 3 is coming out with a specific applications into the market rather than selling the robot per se. In terms of per se applications, other companies that are put it robots to really work. There is Timmy from another company. It's called Temi Robotics. That actually they had the small robot that I told you that actually it was the one developing the telemedicine, the teledoc. But now we are developing. They are developing more applications that actually could be used in that robot. So imagine that robot working, for instance, in a hotel. Welcome the people in the hotel. In the same ToDo Robotics, we had one of the units that actually last one, BellaBot Pro, that actually we developed with the manufacturer a new application that actually greet in the imagine in a retail store, greet the people at the entrance, give information about the product, but also offer you to bring you to the directly where the product is. So imagine, I don't know, at the entrance of Home Depot, you say, "Welcome to Home Depot. How can I help you?" And they say, "I want a hammer." Okay, I had all this type of hammer, blah, 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 blah. And then which hammer do you want? Say, "Well, I want the hammer of 16 ounces." Okay, perfect. Follow me. I will bring you. The robot physically actually escort you where the location, and they say, "Okay, the hammer is in the bin number 3. Can I help him with something else?" And if it's not, "Okay, thank you. Have a good day," and go back. So this is already exists. The technology already exists, but still, you will see more companies actually trying to test these applications really in real life. There is a curve, the same thing that we saw in the restaurants. There is a curve that the people had to adapt to actually to be the presence of the robot, get that initial phase, get us like, okay, what the robot is gonna do for me is talking to me. And also at the other side, from the developing start point, we are actually how much you want really the robot to have AI, for instance. We tested that. The funny thing is that we realized it's like I don't want the robot have to complete AI. We try to limit the language to instead of LLM, so large language, to SLM, so it's more language to say, okay, you're gonna talk about this product. And even with SLM, it's still too much. Because then what you have a chatty salesperson that is saying, "Oh yes, because blah blah blah," and you are like, "Okay, come on, no." So we had to find the balance. Do you want really the application of all the AI, or do you want to actually write a very, very intelligent algorithm to follow? There is no answer, but we're trying.
Yeah, that's great. That's a lot of fun things coming out in the future. So, Marianela, we have a few minutes left. And as I close out the podcast, I give everybody a chance to do a shameless plug about anything they want. What would you like to promote or plug today?
Well, more than actually promoting, and this is indirect promotion, is the fact that there is in the work of robotics and commercial application for robotics, there is a lot of misunderstanding, and it's a new field. More than anything, I would like to have the opportunity to educate a little bit the people and tell them that having all these robots and open their mind to actually consider the robots to do basic applications, basic tasks during your operations actually have an incredible advantage. So either is the brands that I represent, ToDo Robotics, Gaussian Robotics, Sparkos, Seiko, and I represent 5 different brands. Chance that you give to this robot and test it in person to see, you will see the benefits. There had been, a lot of talks in the market. It's taking over the world. Everybody's gonna remain without jobs. No, we are actually in a process where actually of very interesting change in the labor force. Every person that we are teaching and in every operations that we actually install the cleaning robots, for instance, we had to actually teach the operators and train the operators and we are requalifying these people. And actually it's a beautiful, effect of the whole thing when you have a lady that was a housekeeper of her life telling me, "I feel right now so proud of what I'm doing. I'm going to tell my kids now I'm a robot operator." As a matter of fact, they are becoming robot operators. So, every change is not as negative as the people said. So besides to actually the benefits that bring to the operations, it also brings benefit to the operators and to the people that are involved in the industry.
Yeah, and makes our life better. Perfect. Marianela Nanninga, the CEO and founder of ToDo Robots, or ToDo. You tell us.
ToDo Robotics.
Robotics. Sorry. ToDo Robotics, not Todos, not everything, right?
But actually, it's in purpose. The name, actually, I made it also in purpose because to do is for the action to realize something, but in Spanish means todo, that means everything.
Everything. Perfect. Thank you so much for being here. It's been such a pleasurable conversation.
Thank you very much for the invite, and it really was my pleasure.
Talk Commerce is a production of Content Basis, LLC. For more creative content, go to contentbasis.io.